I want to talk about which way life is pushing you and paying close attention to that. And I've gotten emails from a lot of you, which is awesome. I love it when I get emails. I've met some really cool people from emailing me. So please reach out if something strikes a chord. But there's different people on here who are just starting, trying to figure out what they want to do with their trading, people who have been trading for 20 years and all in between. So each episode might be relevant or not relevant, depending. But this one today is a little bit more about kind of the bigger picture shit show that you go through when you're doing this work. And so for me, I'm just going to cut right to it. So I've been doing this for about 20 years now. And that's since I started at my firm in Chicago, professionally, I guess. And then on my own, totally on my own since 2015. But I was dabbling in junior high and high school even with this stuff. It's always really what I wanted to do. And I've had a love for it from a very young age, just playing the game, figuring it out. And it started with day trading, as I've talked about a bunch of times. And I've tried to work hard at moving my position time frame out. And I've been lucky enough somehow to have had a lot of bad things happen along the way, like any trader, but I haven't had a losing year yet. And it looks like this year, it's a pretty bad one for me this year. And it started off with a really good 2021 that turned into a bunch of positions that were brought into 2022 that blew up on me. And I took a vacation with a lot of them on. I kind of just let it go and didn't manage my risk properly. And then I kind of numbed out for a while and recovered. And then I started going back into trading in the short term, which kind of takes a lot of soul and life out of me, to be honest, at this point. But it was busy, so I did it. And it's something I felt like I knew how to do from earlier in my career. So I went back in there, which is the same thing I did during the pandemic. And I made back, I don't know, like 30 or 40% of some substantial losses, which is actually pretty good, of given what I came into the year doing. And the last few weeks, I had decided to put on quite a large position, and I neglected my risk, and the position was big enough to wipe out everything I made on the comeback and put me at new lows for the year. So going all these years without having a losing year, and then this year's a fucking disaster for me compared to other years. Now, when I say disaster, it's not going to change my life or anything like that, but it's given what I'm used to losing, and it's just been a total mess. It's not just a losing year, it's a bad losing year. And some of the stats and the skews of things that are my upsides are wildly more profitable than my downsides usually. And this year and a little bit the last couple of years in spots, I've started to see the stats like kind of like I'll have a bad losing streak and it's like as bad as a good winning streak. And I'm like, Jesus, things are getting. And the other thing I've noticed, I'm trying to be really honest here. It's not necessarily fun or flattering, but the other thing I've noticed is I've been unwilling to play the game the right way on certain, like cut down small, start over, grind it back out, get in a good flow, wait, maybe take a break. And I've kind of just not wanted to do that. It's similar to, I spent my whole life reviewing film of the market, plotting my trades, talking to a coach sometimes, doing all this stuff like an Olympic sport. And then all of a sudden I just decided the last couple of years I want to show up on Sunday and play the game. I don't want to stretch and I don't really give a shit. And that's just what I want to do. And this has been going on for a few years. And I've been able to make my way through it and have some good success, but it's kind of caught up with me. And it's actually life trying to tell me on some level that there's a different path for me. I don't mean that I'm not going to trade anymore or I shouldn't be trading. It's not necessarily, I don't know if that's what I mean. I don't think that's what I mean. What I mean more is that keep continuing to go back to the short term and then trying to extend the long-term vision and then go back to the short term because it's busy. That stuff is really messing with me, and it's not making me very happy. It's making me feel like I'm grinding and drudging, and it used to just be a game that I loved and enjoyed, even though it's always challenging at times. It's become different lately than it has been in the past. And I think one of the things that I'm wrestling with now is for the first time in my career, taking more of a pause. I've never done it before, where I just literally take a break from trading for a while, which sounds crazy, right? I've taken a week off or something, but never really taken longer off. And I think that's where I need to be to kind of discover, to get the joy back of what I really want to be doing, because a lot of times I'm just literally going along to go along. And I've accomplished a lot of my goals that I wanted to when I started off when I was younger, not having to work a normal job and play this game for a living, which has been awesome. And now I just think there's other things that are going to be shown to me if I pause in terms of tweaking my approach or even adding different things that I don't even have in my life right now that I haven't given myself room to do because I've never come up for air for a long time. And I think taking this big loss, and I actually had some other big ones that I've recovered from, but just seemed a little weird for me, but I kind of got away with it. I think this one was like a nasty one, and it was a wake-up call that like a 5, 6, 7 times a normal loss, like a normal bad loss, like way more than a normal bad loss. And I think that being off balance and kind of sitting with it a little bit and trading too big and not thinking about the downside, all the things that, I have done very little of. I mean, we all have done it, right? But I haven't really let it happen like this for a while. And it's been building. It's kind of like a runner who keeps getting stress fractures or problems with their body, and they keep going and going. And one day they tear their Achilles, and they have to really sit back and look at everything they're doing, and they come back different. And that's kind of what I would equate this to, more like from a spiritual level than at a financial level. Either way, yeah, it sucks financially, but it's more of like from like my soul, like how I feel, like the energy level that I come into work with, and it just seems like it's like I don't even have I need to get it back or nothing like that. It's more of a numbness and just kind of okay, I feel relieved in some ways that now I can kind of take a break. And it's been calling to me for a very long time, and this is sort of how it gets my attention. And if something like this doesn't happen, it doesn't get my attention. And I've gone through so many, you can imagine, like anybody who's listening, who's trading, you know how it is, right? But I've gone through so many of these things through 20 years, but this feels different. It's not, even though I'm telling the podcast, so a lot of people are hearing it, I'm not talking about it that much, not because I'm embarrassed of it really. It's just more of, there isn't really a need. There's just a knowing that life's been pushing me this way to pause and kind of explore. I don't know exactly what I'm exploring, but other aspects, other sides of me, other things. And it may or may not help my trading, and it might change my trading. And I really don't know. I have no clue. So that's kind of how I'm feeling right now with everything. And I have young kids, but I don't think that has much to do with it, honestly. This has just been creeping up for a while. And I think being isolated a little bit and trading on your own and doing it in front of a computer a lot during the day, things like that can get a little tiring. And a lot of that's just kind of been leading to this. But I'm actually thankful for the loss, because it's like the roundhouse kick right to the side of my face where I wake up in the hospital and then I find out what happened, versus all the other ones that are just like I get up and come back in a week or the next day. And sometimes you're thankful for that, because without that, you don't start to take a real hard look at. I'm kind of taking the joy out of it for myself, basically. And it's because I'm a little off path with where I need to be. I think my life might want to expand more. It's always going to have trading, but it's going to expand into different things. And I don't quite know where or why or how yet, but that's the moment I'm having right now. And I thought I would share it just because people are you're going to go through this stuff at some point. Who knows to what degree, but nobody doesn't go through it. But I was talking to someone today about it, kind of a person who's not in the market, interestingly enough, how that works. But I described it as, it's not like I can't do something. It's not like I can't do it. It's that I literally am unwilling to do it. I'm unwilling to do the things it takes to be professional and be good at this. There's fighting from inside to not do it. I want to show up on game day and I don't want to do the work. I just don't feel like doing it. And it's like kind of like I was asking for it and I finally got it. And then when you get it, there's a relief feeling. And it's like, okay, I can relax now and explore, which is stupid. But sometimes you get what you need and you always have to be grateful for it. You don't really realize till later. So anyways, that's the spot I'm in right now, and we'll see what happens. I'll still jump on and do podcasts though, like regular, because I'll have plenty of things to talk about. Or I think the better podcast, at least when I'm listening to stuff or when I'm talking to people or consuming things myself, it's just this kind of stuff, because this is what you go through. And when you're lined up the right way and your energy is good, you have a lot of success. And when you're fighting yourself, like I've been, you eventually figure out a way to hurt yourself if you're going to fight yourself. You can't lie to yourself. You can't fight when it's a grind and it's miserable. You get away with it for a while, then eventually you don't. And it's kind of like the trader who has, it's very different, but you have early success, and then later on when you have more money, you struggle and you realize what it's like to struggle and you lose a lot more money. So you're better off losing the money right away. But it's weird that I would go 20 years to have this level of turbulence, but it's like spiritual turbulence, it feels like, more than market turbulence. But it's resulting in P&L and market turbulence because, now I know the market's been weird this year, but I wouldn't even give the market that much of a blame for what I'm going through. Maybe some of it is a weird market, but I think this started for me before all the market got weird. So it's been starting for 3 or 4 years probably, and kind of moving this direction slowly. And I've kind of tried to quiet it, and had some successes and covered it up, and back it comes. So anyways, that's the story for now.